Rose is kind of like your angsty character. She is mad at the world. Ew. Sir. No. We don't do that. Rose gets on my nerve. I will say that. I don't really like Twilight, but he was dead. So does that count? But that's still an age gap. I don't know. So, this is smutty. I just hate that this book did an awful representation of that. Dimitri was very boring in the show. Like, there wasn't really anything about him in the show that I was like, oh, you're an interesting character. Like, I really didn't care. I don't feel the need to carry on with this. Hello, book reading friends. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Kaylin, and I hope you guys are doing so lovely. Today's video is actually going to be a special vlog featuring the Vampire Academy and me reading the book for the first time and watching the show. I know this book is a cult favorite. I know a lot of people love this series and this book. I never read it because when this series came out, Twilight was out around that time and I was obsessed with Twilight. And then also the Vampire Academy, the Vampire Diaries was also out, and I love the Vampire Diaries, so, you know, I really wasn't interested in this book, but I know a lot of people love this book, but I just never picked it up, and I feel like I should pick it up. I think it's about time. I love vampire books. Anything about vampires, I love them. What I'm expecting for this book is the cheesy YA writing. I'm not really expecting much out of the writing because this was written in the early 2000s, so, you know, that kind of writing style, I'm fully expecting it in here. I'm expecting some things in here not to be like, you know, okay, but it's just what was written about that time of year, so yes. But what this book is about, let me read the synopsis. Lissa Dragomir is a Mori princess, a mortal vampire with a rare gift for harnessing the earth's magic. Her best friend Rose Hathaway is a Dhampir, a guardian whose blood is powerful blend of vampire and human. Rose's life is dedicated to protecting Lissa from the dangerous Strigoi, the fiercest vampires who will stop at nothing to make Lissa one of them. After 2 years of freedom, Rose and Lissa are caught and dragged back to Vladimir's Academy, a school for vampire royalty, and to be their guardians-to-be. But inside the Iron Gates, life is even more fraught with danger, and Strigoi are always close by. So, that's a little bit about this book. I will let you guys know I've already read this book, so I'm going to let past Kaylin take it away. It's kind of a weird angle, but you know what, we're just going to roll with it. Hi guys! So I have updates on the Vampire Academy. Last night I got to chapter 6, I believe. Yes, I am on chapter 6, page 76, and this book is reminding me of like the early 2000s YA fantasy era, where it was like vampires. Every single character was so angsty. You had like the angsty teen vampire who like thinks the world is out to get her, that kind of vibe, and it just reminds me of that era, and like honestly low-key miss that era. I know a little bit more about this book. So we are following Rose and Lissa, who have a bond. Basically Rose can feel what Lissa is thinking and feeling. She can also get into Lissa's mind and kind of see what she is up to, which is an unusual thing that's very rare to come by and hasn't happened for a long time. And Rose is actually Lissa's guardian, and they basically escaped the school, the prep school that they were going to, because Rose felt that Lissa's safety was a concern and she wanted to keep her safe and away from the school because things were happening. I'm not sure what yet. They are currently on the run, and they get caught and whisked back to the academy, and they have to stay. And Lissa is part of the Royals, and she is a full-blown vampire. Like, she has to have blood to survive. Meanwhile, Rose, I think, can eat human food. And Rose is kind of like your angsty character. She is mad at the world. She is just very hostile towards everyone. She kind of has a chip on her shoulder. Lissa is kind of the more sweet, docile character, wants to like see the good in everyone. We have Dimitri, who is basically teaching Rose how to fight because she's on probation because she, you know, took Lissa away from the school and she wasn't supposed to do that. So she's on probation. And Dimitri's also Rose's guardian now because Rose is on probation, like I said. And so they are training together. He's like putting in extra hours with her, getting her caught up and all that. And I think they might have a potential love thing going on in the future. I'm not sure yet, but that's what it's like. The vibes are like. And then we have Lissa, who met this kid named Christian, whose parents were both turned into the bad vampires, basically the dead vampires that are called Stragogis, I don't know, something. But both his parents were that and they're dead, so he is kind of left all alone in the world and everyone thinks he's going to turn into one. But yeah, they kind of have not a thing going, but they both spend time in this little attic area to kind of like get away. And they had a scene together where, you know, they kind of just talked. Nothing major happened, but yeah, that's basically what's going on in the book. That is where I'm at. I am liking it. It's a pretty easy read. I read those 70 pages pretty quickly, so I'm excited to carry on with the book tonight. I'm gonna keep reading and I will talk to you guys when I have more updates. Hi guys, ignore this lighting. Sorry about it. Can't do anything about it. I'm in bed, but I have updates and thoughts. So let's talk. Okay, so Rose, why does she want to beat everyone up? Like literally anyone who crosses her path, she wants to beat up. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? And then we find out that her mother decided being a guardian was better than being a parent and went off to be a guardian. So basically Rose grew up without a mother. So being angry at the world, that's probably why. Also, we learn a little bit about guardians can't have long-term relationship. Like it's looked down upon if they go off and have a long-term relationship because their only job is to guard the Mori. And also Daffir, which is half human, half vampire, they can't, Daffir men can't have kids. It's only the Daffir woman, and they can only have kids with a Mori man. And that's how, like, they have kids. They can't have kids any other way. It doesn't work. Genetics, something. I don't know. That's how they were explaining it to me. I can definitely tell this book was written in the early 2000s. It's just so cheesy and corny and just all the good things you want in a in a YA fantasy. This is that. Anyways, back to my thoughts. But we just had a scene where this guy was kind of going after Lissa and blaming her for something that just happened, and he gets set on fire. And we know that people in this book have elemental magic, and there was only 3 people in the classroom that have the fire element magic, and that was the guy himself that was going after Lissa, his friend, and then Christian, which is the guy who Lissa has been hanging out with. And he set that guy on fire, and Rose is like, I thought you weren't hanging out with him. I told you to stop talking to him and stop hanging out with him. I just want to read you this because I was like, yes, exactly. And yeah, I am wearing a Lion King shirt to bed. What are you gonna do about it? He's out of his mind. He set Ralph on fire. I thought we decided you weren't going to see him anymore. You decided, Rose, not me. There was an edge in her voice I hadn't heard in a while. What's going on here? Are you guys, no, she insisted. I told you that already. God, she shot me a look of disgust. Not everyone thinks and acts like you. I flinched at the words. I just like that she finally stood up to Rose, because Rose is like, I get it, she's trying to protect Lissa and hope, like, and prevent anything from happening to her, and she's like very overprotective, but like, boundaries, okay? We all need to set boundaries when it comes to our relationships, friendships, family, whatever. Set boundaries. And I think that's what Lissa is doing. But I'm going to keep reading. I am on page 109, and that's my thoughts. Megan, literally 5 minutes later. Remember how I said this book was, like, you can definitely tell this book was written in the early 2000s? Dimitri has a bad taste in my mouth because he just slut-shamed Rose. We don't do that. We don't do that. Ew. Sir. No. We don't do that. Hi guys, I'm pausing the time lapse. So I'm on page 141, and she and Dimitri, who is the guy who's training her, are becoming, more friendly with each other. She's noticing things about him. So I just want to read you this thing because I literally squealed. Okay. I would have given anything to be able to read his mind right then. Ever since that night in the lounge, I've noticed him watching me with this same studious expression. He never actually did it during the trainings themselves. Those were business. But before and after, he would sometimes lighten up just a little, and I'd see him look at me in a way that was almost admiring. And sometimes, if I was really, really lucky, he'd smile at me. A real smile, too, not the dry one that accompanied the sarcasm we tossed around so often. I didn't want to admit it to anyone, not to Alyssa, not even to myself. But some days I lived for those smiles. They lit up his face. Gorgeous no longer adequately described him. We love it. We love the YA writing. Okay, resume time lapse. I'm back again. Nothing's happened yet, okay? It's just a crush, but Rose is saying how she's crushing on her older mentor, and she was like, he's 7 years older than me. And it clicked. I'm like, wait a second, she's only 17. He's 24. I feel like that's just a little, like, that's not okay. Like, she's not even an adult. Like, she's still a teenager. Please tell me nothing happens between them, because that's not okay. That's not okay. Maybe she was 20 and he was, like, 24. Okay, But, like, no. No. So I'm gonna keep reading. But, like, that is just, like... Hi guys, I quite literally just got out of the shower. My hair is soaking wet, so if I look like a mop, that is why. Okay, glad that we got that covered. I'm here with reading updates. So last night I actually managed to get to page 230, so I'm 100 pages away from the ending. And we have met the queen, Tatiana, is that her name? I don't know. Yeah, Queen Tatiana, and she was commenting on Lissa's name and like what it means and how great an honor it is, and like so many people have had this name and blah blah blah. And then she goes, but as you have demonstrated, names do not make a person, nor do they have any bearing on how that person turns out. And Lissa just got so upset. Someone is leaving dead animals in Lissa and Natalie's room, but we have found out that Lissa has powers to make the animals come back from the dead. I'm not too sure like how that works. Like, I'm not sure if they have to be like newly dead and like no physical damage, or if she can bring back any animal. I'm not sure, but they haven't really touched on that. But they just say, and apparently like no one's supposed to know. Like there's a teacher, Mrs. Carp, who has the same power, and she's like, do not tell anyone she's like me. They'll come get her. They'll come find her. Mrs. Carp didn't return to school this year, so I don't know what happened with that. And then we find out that, well, we already knew Lissa has compulsion. I'm not sure if every Maury has compulsion or if it's just Lissa because she's something special. But she has now taken upon herself to get on the royals' good side again, and she wants to befriend them and kind of make them stop spreading around these rumors. Well, not rumors because they're true, that Rose let Lissa drink her blood, because it's like a big like gross thing in this community that like that is gross, do not do that. So she's doing that, but these powers, because she keeps using her compulsion, they keep taking over her and making her into something she's not, kind of darkening her, if you would say. And then Rose, earlier in the book, I don't think I said this, but earlier in the book, Rose approached Christian and told him to leave Lissa alone. She doesn't like you. She thinks you're stalking her. You're a freak, blah, blah, blah. And so he's kind of backed off. And then Rose needed something from Christian, and she sent a note like, hey, like, I'm sorry. They just encountered. And I'm going to read this. Thanks for the books. He didn't say anything. The ones you gave to Mason? Oh, I thought you meant the other books. Smart ass. Are you going to ask what they were for? Your business. Just figured you were bored being suspended. I'd have to be pretty bored for that. He didn't laugh at my joke. What do you want, Rose? I've got places to be. I knew he was lying, but my sarcasm no longer seemed as funny as usual. I want you to hang out with Lissa again. Are you serious? He said to me, closely suspicion all over him. After what you said to me? Yeah, well, didn't Mason tell you? Christian lips turned into a sneer. He told me something, and I don't want to hear it from Mason. His sneer cranked up when I glared. You sent him to apologize for you. Step up and do it yourself. You're a jerk, I informed him. Yeah, and you're a liar. I want to see you eat your pride. Here's the thing. I agree with him. Man up and apologize, Rose. Like, it's not that big a deal. Apologize face to face. Like, are you really not going to do that? I hate when people do that. I hate when they just can't suck up their pride and apologize for something they did wrong or something they lied about, or, whatever. And I think her reaction to him is completely like uncalled for, calling him a jerk. He's not a jerk for wanting you to apologize to him to his face instead of through a note that you passed to someone to pass to him. Like, I don't think that's wrong. Rose gets on my nerve. I will say that. I don't really like Rose, the way this book is setting her up to be. I know she has a lot of family stuff and all that, and she's got a lot of pent-up anger, but I don't know. I'm hoping as the series goes on, she has more character growth. I would assume so, but you never know. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the book. I'm going to finish it, and then I'll probably come back and talk to you guys. But yeah, that's all I have to say, and I am going to continue reading. Hi guys. I have not finished the book. I said I would come back when I finished. Let me mix it. That's better. Okay. So I said I would come back when I finished the book, but I'm like 40 pages away from finishing the book. This writing, things have happened, so I can't wait any longer, so we're gonna like discuss. First off, they're at this dance, right? And Mia, we find out that Mia was involved with Lissa's brother, and he like kept it a secret, and he basically screwed her over, and that's why Mia is kind of not kind of, is bullying Lissa and making her life miserable and doing all these things. So there was an encounter at the party, and Rose punched Mia, and Rose got like taken away, and then Lissa and Christian were like ran off together. Not ran off. Lissa ran off. Christian raced after him, and Rose was inside Lissa's head and was seeing Christian was hurt, and there was guardians surrounding them who hurt Christian, and she was like, well, they did seem like guardians, meaning they're not guardians, but she went to Dimitri, and she went there to like let him know what's going on with Lissa, and then very quickly, this is where it's like very weird, very quickly she like threw herself at him and was like, don't you think I'm pretty? And then what did he say? He was like, aren't you drunk? He goes, are you drunk? He goes, no. She said, I wish. I thought you wanted to. Don't you think I'm pretty? And he was like, you need to go back to your room. I don't know what's going on. And then she repeats it again. And he goes, I think you're beautiful. And then she says, beautiful, like question mark. You're so beautiful, it hurts me sometimes. And then they kiss. And then he says, you got to get rid of that dress fast. And he goes, and then it says, and then he took me to bed. Can we just... He's 24. She is 17. She is 17. Holy... Ew. Ew, 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 ew. No, that's not... We're not going to do that. I don't know. I'll talk more about this writing in this book in like my final thoughts, but like I just hope they change some things in the show so that it's more geared towards nowadays stuff, like the stuff that's okay nowadays, because the stuff that's happening in this book is not flying in like today's day and age. Like this, I mean, it shouldn't have been okay back then, but you know, writing has changed a lot since the early 2000s, but like we really don't see books anymore written with that age gap, like when someone's 17 and their person they're interested in or their partner is like 24. Like we don't see that anymore because that's just like not okay, and we know it's not okay. I don't know why back in the early 2000s that was the thing, like Twilight, but he was dead, so does that count? But that's still an age gap. I don't know, but it would be different if, I don't know, would it be different if Dimitri was like dead because he doesn't age, he's stuck at that age, but then again he still is like how many ever years old, you know, he's been on this earth. So I don't know, but I just don't understand like why books were written the way they were written, especially in YA back then, because but anyways, I hope to God, I hope they change some things in the show, because if the show is exactly like the book, I won't like it, because I don't know, I'm gonna save my thoughts. Let me go finish these last 40 pages and I'll be back. I just need some rehab, or maybe I just need some sleep. I've got a sick obsession. Hi guys, so I'm here to do my final wrap up of my thoughts and feelings towards Vampire Academy. So this was my first time reading it. Obviously I knew it was written in 2008, right? 2008, 2007, so like early 2000s, like that kind of vibe. I already knew that not to expect amazing writing, groundbreaking writing, like I knew that going into that. I was preparing I was kind of like in my head being like, this is going to be, hang on, my Instapot is going off. I have to let out the air. So 1 second. Okay, if you can hear hissing, it's my Instapot. It's letting out the pressure. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So in my head, I was already setting myself up to be like, oh, this is like Twilight, like early Twilight days, that kind of writing style. So I wasn't upset with the writing in this book, like at all. The things that I kind of were upset about were, well, one, the way in this book, all the characters threw around slur words that are used towards women that, men especially use towards women, if you get what I'm going. I hated how those were literally thrown around in the book. They were said on every single page, like, when are we going to stop calling women sluts and whores for doing stuff that makes us feel good. When are we gonna stop? I hated the love interest. So, Rose and Dimitri. I did not like the fact that there was a big age gap. And it would be different if they were in their like mid 20s and there was that 7-year age gap. Like, it doesn't really matter at that point. But when you have a 17-year-old and a 24-year-old being interested in each other, I think that's just like a big no-no. I will say Dimitri did tell Rose, like, it's not gonna happen. There's a big age gap. You need to be interested in boys your own age. You're still growing up. You're a child. Like, I'm 24. It's a big age gap. This is not okay. So I did like that he said that, but it still doesn't justify the fact that he is, one, interested in her and likes her, which is clearly visible. Like, you can clearly see it. And the fact that he kissed her and like took her to bed. I don't think they slept together. It didn't really clarify. I just said, and then he took me to bed, so I'm guessing, but who knows. I will say during that scene they were both under a compulsion. Well, she was under a compulsion, Rose was. Dimitri wasn't at all. So there's no excuse for him doing that. He could have told her, like, no, like, stay away, you know, whatever. So I don't like that at all. There was also mention of self-harming in this book. I haven't really seen anyone say that. Goodreads is really awful at trigger warnings. I wish they would update so bad where you could put trigger warnings. Storygraph is so much more better with that. I had no idea that there would be mention of self-harm, so if that's a trigger for you, please know that that is mentioned throughout this book. There's also mention of abuse in this book, like I think it's not a big part of the book. There's just like a small section that mentioned, but it's still in the book. So be very aware of that. They mention depression and anxiety too in this book. So there's a lot of things that's mentioned in this book, and I don't know, I don't like how it was so casually in there, and they were kind of like, oh, this is the way I like relieve myself. And then when they were talking about anxiety and like the medication, Rose was like, oh, I just thought it made people like silly and happy. Like, I don't like that. Like, I get that back then there wasn't a lot of knowledge about it. Like, no one knew the knowledge we knew today about it. Speaking as a person who was diagnosed with anxiety and depression at, like, in those years, 2007 is actually when I was diagnosed with it. So I like, that I get, because they're like, so back then, you know, there wasn't really a lot, but like, I don't know, I still just don't like it, because that's still, it kind of triggered me, I guess I should say, going back to that time and that age back when I was first diagnosed, and people, you know, called me a freak. They like didn't understand. They just thought I was a loser. Like, they really understand, and that kind of like brought me back to that age, which is horrible, and in no way, shape, or form does that define you when you have those mental illnesses or any mental illness. And I just hate that books were so, like, I just hate that this book did an awful representation of that. So, I don't know. I am curious to see how this author's like writing grows throughout the series. Am I going to pick up the second book right away? Absolutely not. It just did not, you know, I don't feel the need to carry on with the series right now. Will I? Yes, eventually I will, because I am curious to see like what goes on in the rest of the series. Why there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 books in the series, so I'm curious to see like what the other 5 books are about. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. Other than the negative thoughts, the fun YA vibes were in there. I really liked Lissa and Christian. I love them. They are now in a relationship. I really liked them together. But yeah, those are kind of my thoughts. As you can see, there's mostly negative thoughts, but I just wanted to get everything out in the open, so if you are thinking about reading this book, you know what to expect when going into it and what to look out for, and there's all the triggers right there. So if anything like that triggers you, just, it's in there, and I just wanted to do that. So yeah, but I'm kind of curious to watch the show. If I watched the trailer and it looked very corny and cheesy and just like not Vampire Diaries. It was like pilot episode of Vampire Diaries. You know what I'm saying? Those like cheesy vibes. That's what the show looked like. So I don't know. We'll see. I may be like completely be taken by surprise and it might be really good, but who knows? I just know if it's anything like this book with all the stuff I mentioned, I'm not gonna like the show like at all. So we'll see. I'm probably gonna wait to watch the show. It will be like 2 seconds for you guys, but I'm going to watch it tomorrow because I have other books I need to read for my weekly vlog. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on the book. Hi guys, I am sitting down to watch the first episode of the Vampire Academy. I didn't realize that these are weekly releases, so there's currently 6 that I have to watch. I don't know if I'll watch all 6 because, I don't know, that's a lot. I'm going to watch at least the first 3, and if I want to carry on, you guys will obviously see, but I at least want to watch enough to form an opinion, if that makes sense. So I'm sitting down and watching the first episode, and whenever I have thoughts, I'll just come on here and say them because I think that's the best way to do it. So, okay, hi. I'm literally 5 minutes into the show. And I have thoughts. Going into this, I knew it wasn't going to be like an amazing cinematic type of deal. Like I wasn't expecting Game of Thrones type deal with this. This does remind me, it's like a cross of the new Gossip Girl and Vampire Diaries. Like that kind of vibe. That's what the cinematics is like. Is that even the right word for this? I don't know, but you get what I'm saying. That's kind of like the vibe. That's how it's feeling, the way it's being filmed. I do like how the opening of the first episode, we get to see the events taking place before Lissa kind of really develops anxiety and all that. So I do like that, and we get to see Andre, which is her brother, which we didn't get to meet at all. Like he was already dead when you are reading the book. And the only thing I will have to say that I'm like, I wish they would have left it as they did in the book. In the book, we find out much later that the reason why Mia hates Lissa is because she was with her brother, Andre, and he kept it a secret, and that's kind of why she was after Lissa. Now, in the show, the first thing is Mia grabs onto Andre's arm, and, you know, you obviously think they're together, and Lissa knows it. So I'm just kind of like, I wish they would have left it, you know, like they did in the books, but I know everything can't be like the books, but that's my only comment. But I'm going to go back. Also, characters, Rose and Lissa, stunning. I really like them so far. But yeah, I'm going to go back to watching it. I'm back with more thoughts. Literally 2 seconds later. So, this is smutty. I was not expecting it to be like this. Oh, alright. So, if you've read the books, we know that the queen in the books that we meet is Queen Tatiana, right? And you know that Andre was supposed to be king. It says it in the show too. So the smutty scene, we see Andre with a girl in the closet, you know, getting it on, and he's like, what's your name? And she goes, Tatiana. That is Queen Tatiana. That wasn't like that in the book. Oh, this is gonna be fun. We just met Christian. I really like him. I already really, really like him. I love his character. I'm so excited. I will say, yes, this is cheesy and corny, but it's like good. It's like that show that you could sit down and binge without even thinking about it. So I am here for it. Okay, hi, I'm back. I did change my clothes. I had to film some stuff for TikTok, so I'm just coming on here. It's been a little bit since I finished the first episode of Vampire Academy, and I just kind of wanted to take a minute to like collect my thoughts on what I really thought. Honestly, I like this so much better than the book already. I know there's 6 books in the entire series, but I'm just going off book 1 because I think season 1's just based off book 1. I could be wrong. I didn't do much research. I'm gonna be honest. But yeah, going off the first episode, it was intriguing. It kept my attention, which is very rare. I really like all the characters. The storyline has changed just like a tiny bit from the book. There's just like a couple things, like the whole Mia thing I explained, and how we met Dimitri, because Dimitri in the books we met because he caught Rose and Lissa out and about and brought them back to school because they were on the run for 2 years. That didn't happen in the show. So yeah, there's just been a couple of things, but I think they changed it in the right way. So I have high hopes. I'm gonna watch 2 more episodes over the next coming days, and then once I have 3 episodes, and then of course I will tell you guys my thoughts, and then I'll probably wrap up this video after I finish episode 3, but I'll watch them in the next coming days. But yeah, I just wanted to give a little update on episode 1. Honestly, the cast is all stunning in this show. But yes, so those are my thoughts, and I'll be back when I have more. Okay, you guys, so it's been about a week since I have talked to you guys, and since I have finished the Vampire Academy, and I think the last thing I said was I was going to watch a couple more episodes. After watching, I think I watched the 2nd episode, and after watching them, I just kind of sat with it, and I'm like, this is something I don't really want to carry on with. So I kind of just wanted to come on here and give you guys like a final wrap-up of my thoughts and all that. I said most of what I wanted to say about this book. I didn't really love the mental health representation, but like I said before, at that time when this book was written, there wasn't a lot of knowledge. People didn't really talk about it that much. I talked about how it triggered me. Like, I talked about all that. Yeah, the whole slut shaming was not cool. Like, when are we going to stop saying that? There's just like so many things in this book that I just didn't care for, and there was a little more that I didn't say that I want to say. Quite honestly, the characters in this book were just lacking for me. After sitting with this book and finishing it and thinking about this book, I just honestly could care less about any of the characters in here. I will say the only, like, maybe the character I really liked was Christian, and I really liked Lissa and Christian, but even then in the book, I just really didn't care. Dimitri was boring. I don't know what I said about him because it's been like a week since I finished this vlog, but if I said anything else about him, I'm lying, because now thinking back at it, I don't even remember much of Dimitri. I thought he was really boring. Am I going to carry on with this series? No, I'm so sorry to any of you guys who love this series, but I just don't care to carry on. Life's too short to carry on with a series you don't really care about. Also, sorry about this really awful lighting. I'm right by my window, and I'm just quite frankly too lazy, and plus I'm about to like walk out the door, hence why I'm dressed the way I'm dressed. So I'm just want to film this really quickly. Yeah, so I don't think I'm going to carry on with it. I know a lot of people say the writing gets better and the series gets better and there's a lot of character growth as the series go on, but I just quite frankly don't care enough to finish the series. Now the show. The filming style was awful. The editing, the filming, it wasn't great. I will say it is a show that you could sit down and have on the background and not really care. I don't know, it's just very corny and cheesy. I did like what they were doing with the plot line, but just the acting, like, I just didn't care enough, and I'm not going to carry on with the series. I've decided I'm done. I just don't care enough to carry on with the series. Dimitri was very boring in the show. Like, there wasn't really anything about him in the show that I was like, oh, you're an interesting character. Like, I really didn't care. And I did like Lissa and Christian. I really like them together, but I don't care enough to carry on with the series to see, like, where they go. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I'm not going to move on. But yeah, so I'm so sorry if this is your favorite series and I've offended you in any way. I did not mean to. This is my opinion. Remember, everyone has their own opinions, and we are free to talk about what we like and what we don't like in books and movies and whatever. But yeah, you guys, that is it for this week's vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was an interesting one. I've never really done anything like this, comparing the book and the show, but it was kind of fun. I kind of liked it. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure you guys subscribe to stick around to see more content from moi. Make sure to follow me on my social medias. I am on TikTok and Instagram. They are always linked down below for you guys. Make sure you check the description. I have all the links and the goodies and all that stuff down there. And I will catch you guys in my next video.